Kindie Rockstars. Prepare for a treat, let's meet and greet some bands and singers that are super sweet, making music that's fun for boys and girls. Help them learn about this great big world. Fun for the family, yes it's true, your kids will love it and you will too. Clap and dance and sing aloud, become a part of the Kindie crowd. These songs will make you move your feet and give your ears a great big treat. So settle in, grab your guitars, and let's get to know our Kindie Rockstars. Hello everyone, and welcome to Kindie Rockstars. This is the show that gives you the stories behind the songs from some of the best bands and singers that are making fun, informative, educational, catchy, and occasionally silly songs for children and families. I'm your host, Patrick Adams, and each episode of Kindie Rockstars will feature an artist and a featured song. So let's get to this week's show. Joining me today is Mandy Morris from Music with Mandy. Mandy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. So tell us about yourself and how you got into Kindie music.
So I am a jazz vocalist and children's entertainer and an arts educator here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I brought my love of working with children together with my love of jazz, and Music with Mandy was born.
Yeah, no, I could definitely tell. I listened to your songs and I could tell the jazz influence. I was going to ask you about that. That's sort of a unique sound from many of the people I've interviewed.
Yeah, I studied jazz at Grant MacEwan College or Grant MacEwan University, and I just fell in love with the art form. The city I grew up in is Medicine Hat, and they have one of the best jazz festivals, in my opinion. So I spent my childhood going and taking in those live music experiences, and the genre really speaks to me, and I just love swinging.
So what's the Kindie scene like there in Calgary?
It's a really tight-knit group of artists. We like to work together when we can. We try to support each other in any projects that we have going on. And there's some really great opportunities for performances when they're allowed, of course.
And so have you been out and about performing live in Calgary or elsewhere in Canada or any other part of the world?
This summer, I've been very lucky to be able to perform live in Calgary. I worked with some incredible drag performers actually this summer to do a Drag for Kids show featuring some of the music from my new album that's coming out in October.
Very good. So one of the questions that, because I'm curious about how everybody handled the lockdown, but how did you handle that? Did you have things scheduled that you had to cancel? And then how did you transition during that period?
Well, the music we're going to hear today was supposed to be recorded on March 16th, 2020. So we had to cancel the recording the day before, which was a really difficult choice because I actually had 5 young vocalists who were going to be featured on this album. And they had been rehearsing for 3 months to get ready for this performance. So this recording. So it was pretty heartbreaking to have to cancel. And then when we finally were able to go back into the studio, it was August and things were still working to keep everything as distant as possible and not singing together basically at all. So they weren't able to come into the studio the way we had imagined. So we kind of rewrote some of the music. We rearranged some stuff. We wrote some new songs and kind of transitioned the direction of the album, which I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. I think that it really reflects the time and really starts to tap into those self-care practices that we had to establish during lockdown. And now I just have a lot more content, so I have a whole other album ready to go.
Excellent. All right. Are you ready to get into the songs?
Sure.
Our song today is called Tell Me a Story. So, Mandy, tell us about this song.
I'll tell you a story, no problem. So this song was written many years ago by my husband, and it was originally titled Historian. And it had no lyrics whatsoever, but I loved the melody, so we've played with many different lyrics for this track throughout the years, not all of them kid-focused. But when we sat down to make the list for our newest album, we decided to include this one as a way to teach kids and their adults about jazz, because that's the biggest thing that I think I face as a jazz vocalist who also does children's music, is a lot of people have given me the feedback, oh, kids don't like jazz, or that's really cool, but I don't really get jazz. So Tell Me a Story is a way to introduce how to listen to jazz music. So we start by singing the head, which is all about telling stories, musical stories, reading books, bedtime stories. And then the middle section is a breakdown of how to listen to jazz solos. So we start with a piano solo, and then we have a bass solo and a drum solo. And I walk the listener through what's going on in the track to help them understand this somewhat scary, if you will, style of music that some people are intimidated by.
No, it's not scary. I thought this one was really, really unique. It kind of stood out.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's check it out. Get ready for some jazz. Here is Tell Me a Story by Music with Mandy.
Can you tell me a story, a musical story, or you can read me a book? Just begin with once upon a time, then the rest is up to you. It could be on a drum kit or the piano, or you could make it all up about a queen, elephant, or frog. Imagination is all you need. Either way, I'll sit right here and listen to your tale as it unfolds. I love listening to stories, especially musical stories. I listen to trumpet stories, flute stories, glockenspiel stories, and this is a piano story by Mandy Morris. Some musical stories take a long time to write. Others are made up on the spot, like this one by Cody Hutchinson on the bass. Vocalists like me like to use words to tell stories. Bass players use melody, piano players use harmony, and drummers like Jim Johnston use rhythm. Can you tell me a story, a musical story, or you could read me a book? Just begin with once upon a time, then the rest is up to you. It could be an adventure on another planet, or it could be about bugs. Maybe it stars a big red dog, or a groovy blues.
All right. So, Mandy, tell everyone where they can stream and download that song and where they can find you on social media.
You can follow me on Instagram at Music with Mandy and on Facebook. You can listen to all of my music at Music with Mandy on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, and anywhere you listen to music.
Excellent. Well, Mandy, thank you so much for doing the show. It's been great talking to you.
It's been so great talking to you. Thank you so much for having me.